Welcome to Big Blend Radio with your hosts, Lisa and Nancy, editors of BigBlendMagazine.com.
Hey, everybody. Welcome to the Big Weekly Blend Radio Show. Today is all about summer. Summer is here. It is warm, y'all. I'm telling you, we're traveling across the country. Nancy and I are traveling. It's warm, and we love it. And the days are longer, which means we can drive further. And I don't know, you just don't run out of energy in summer as much as you do in winter. For some reason, in winter, we just want to curl up and go, okay, I'm done after a few hours. But it is summer. It is time to play. And today's show, or I should say this week's show, very excited to have Joey Stuckey back on the show. Joey is here every fourth Sunday. In fact, he scooted Nancy out of her chair today. No, he didn't. Nancy's hanging out with some dogs. She let the dogs out. That's what happened, Joey. Who let the dogs out? I think that song ends up on every playlist for this show.
Why would it not?
I love that. Listen, Joey, I know that you direct bands, you produce, you record. Everyone, joeystuckey.com, go to the website. And you know about music, but I have actually managed to teach dogs to bark in time with the song when they go, who let the dogs out? Earth, earth. I have actually taught dogs to bark with the song at the right time.
So as the
that's
kids
my
would
new
say,
talent.
as the kids would say, pics where it didn't happen. Do you have video?
Yes, I do.
Okay.
I actually do. I think you should
post that. I think you should post that with our playlists and stuff.
I will. I'll see what I can do. It was on my old phone, but I'll do it. I'll see what I can find out. But I do actually have video of it.
Okay. I think I could do that. Video.
I think I could do that with the dogs we have that we're taking care of now. So I just got to regroup here. Nancy and I.
Is it Pavlovian conditioning, or how are you doing this? Are you like
quite
barking at a treat, or how do you?
Well, this started with two collies and then the Gus Bucket, which is like a little Maltese poodly Gus Bucket. We call him Gussie. He's a furry little boy. Yeah. Two collies up in Madison, Wisconsin. We spent a winter, 5 weeks of winter snow with them inside the house. And we walked when we could and without sliding and slipping. And I learned about shoveling like real snow, not California snow.
Right.
Two different things at this pet set. And so I would run around every morning. As soon as I put that song on, they knew it was their song. And then we did it recently with some other dogs in Edmond, Oklahoma. And they did it too. And I went, they knew there was like a call and command. So I think it happens, even the timing. People know this who probably train dogs for show and for sheep herding and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But it kind of happens naturally. And so whenever we pet sit and they have an Amazon or Google Music player in the house, it's like, who let the dogs out? That's it. And so it's the call. And they know.
Yeah.
And they dance, they know it's playtime, and we run around the house like crazy people. And I love it.
Well,
it's a thing.
Music is, a primal part of our existence. And, as much as science is a desire to understand our universe and how it was created and things like that, and how it functions, music is a primal way of exploring our life in a different way, what it means to be human, what it means to be alive. And so there's plenty of evidence that suggests that music obviously was originally a religious experience. It was a way to try and communicate with something divine, and then of course it became more. So I think there is a primal reptilian brain, if you will, side of music, and then there's the more refined intellectual side as well. But you have a visceral response to music that is not of the higher consciousness, if you know what I mean.
Animals do too.
Yeah.
Animals do. If you watch birds will sway their heads according to music. I've played music to plants. They respond.
Yeah.
And our horses used to respond to music. Nancy, and Nancy will be back soon, everyone. She is hanging out with dogs and she is playing We Let the Dogs Out. And we have some announcements coming up from our side, from Joey's side. But when we lived in South Africa and had our horses, Nancy's horse, Surtees, was a retired show horse. And
Nice.
so he came to us as kind of like put him to pasture, have a good time, take Nancy out on a ride, or because that was really how it was. He was a huge Flemish cart horse.
Nice.
And named after the race car driver, Surtees. And we had jumps around in the paddock corral in this country.
Yeah.
We said paddock.
Either way.
And none of us were serious about that. We just hang out with the animals. But he would run and do the jumps. He loved horse jumping. He loved to jump, and he would do it on his own. And we would play. Bruce Springsteen was his thing. You could play any other music. He loved Born in the USA.
Yeah, that's a good beat.
It's the rhythm, and
the rhythm is very primal. I mean, it really, really is. I mean, melodic structure is more refined via intellect, I feel, but the rhythm is so primal, and I think the need to emote, to say I exist, is part of this as well. But yeah, I think animals are totally. I've got a cat that I can occasionally get her into a rhythm of meowing. We call and respond. Well, I'll meow at her, she'll meow back, and we'll do it, in a rhythmic pattern. But it doesn't always work because cats are finicky and they don't like to feel like they're doing what you want.
See, I love today's show because, or I should say this week's, the big weekly blend, because we're already off topic. It's perfect.
That's what happens when we get
blend.
Together. Yeah.
It's the blend.
But you were talking about summer.
Yes, and this is exciting. And we've got a playlist that you've created a playlist, and we're going to merge our playlist. So we have a musical blend for summer, which is cool.
Well, I'll tell you something. One of my fondest memories, I was a very sick child. I'm a brain tumor survivor. And I was a very sick child, almost died a number of times, and really had to fight just to get through school. And by fight, what I mean is just, my health was so up and down. It was so sporadic that it was really a chore just to get through school. Now, as it happens, and I don't know if you know this about me or not, I can't remember, because we talk about so many things. But I graduated high school when I was 14. And the reason for that was I skipped several grades because I was, relatively intelligent. Mm-hmm. And I even ended up taking 2 college courses at the high school that I attended. And the principal said, look, you've passed all your SATs in 98th percentile. You've taken all the coursework we can offer you. You've taken the 2 college courses that we offer. You have to go. You can't stay here anymore. And so being 14 and being in the class full of 18-year-olds is an interesting experience. But my point in saying this is my most fond memories of summer always are associated with 2 things. And that is the beach, where I really feel at one with nature. I love the mountains too, but the beach is more, I don't know, just fits my spirit. And the music of summer. I think I remember very vividly, and I can even tell you the year that certain songs came out because I remember them being part of my summer. And the summer was so joyful. And as a sick child, my doctors actually said, go to the beach during the summer. We had a beach house, and they said, go to the beach and stay there all summer. And that's going to be the sun, the sea, and the air. It's going to be good for you and help you and all that. And we did. And so I love summertime, and I love summertime music. So it's the playlist that I've kind of helped create.
Oceanside.
Yeah,
you got the Oceanside song in there, and that's an EP, right? That you put out.
It is.
That's the title track.
You have done your homework. Yes, it is indeed an EP.
I know, it's shocking.
I'm so proud of you. So and the check's in the mail. But Oceanside.
That's because he doesn't know where we're going to be next.
That's exactly right. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So I can always say, sorry, I was going to pay you for saying nice things about me, but it must have gotten lost in the post. Poor post office. But anyway, so Oceanside though is that feeling of joy that I get just by being by the ocean, just sitting there like a big lump, just listening to the sea and feeling the wind and feeling the sun. But it has in it steel drums. I mean, this is honest to gosh, real steel drums. And my dear friend Miguel Castro, I call him Miguel, not from Cuba Castro, because everybody thinks I'm saying Fidel Castro for some reason. So anyway, it's my Southern accent, I reckon. But it is, yeah, it's got steel drums in it, and just songs that make me think of summer. Like one of the songs that I put in the playlist is West End Girls by Pet Shop Boys. And I don't know, there's just something very vibey, summer vibey about that song.
I remember when that came out. I was in South Africa when it came out in the Pet Shop Boys, and it was so funny because I listened to it yesterday on the road when we were driving to Indianapolis, and it came on, and I was like, oh my gosh. And it's so funny because I was going through your playlist and I'm like, we connected on this song. I was like, they're playing it. And I was just remember because it was very fashionable and people, even the videos, like very fashionable. Like it was that era of fashion, yet still summer because you're walking around and, you think about England, right? The West End, and that was, you're walking around. Remember, Bananarama came out with a lot of Cruel Summer. It's
Cruel Summer. Oh, you need to put that in the
we got to add that. I got to put that on the
list. Make a note.
Cruel Summer. It's going in. But when I thought that was interesting, you put it in there. But you putting in Oceanside too. You went from the steel drums. Nancy and I love it. We almost missed a cruise ship going back to Florida. We drank too many Bahama Mamas, and there was this incredible band with this young kid playing the steel drums like you wouldn't believe. He was like 4 or 5 years old.
I love those sounds.
And we almost missed our boat, like seriously. I don't think we would have cared.
You were too busy jamming. But my birth is attributed to a Bahama Mama, so they can get you in trouble. So you just got to be careful. Yeah, you got to be careful.
Bahama Mama. I like this. I like this.
I also like saying Wagamama, which is a great restaurant in the UK that has some good curry.
Okay, so what we're putting in Cruel Summer. This list is going on. But I love that you talk about the beach because and the healing qualities of it. Like if I'm upset and I go to the beach, I think it's the rhythm. There's
something kind powerful there.
There's a very motherly almost with the ocean.
I totally agree. People talk about Mother Earth and Gaia and all these things, and I don't know, man. I just feel something special there. I feel more alive and more tapped into the universe at the beach. I think the way the land meets the sea and the balance between the two and the raw power between the two. You've got this immovable object with us being hit by an amazing force. I don't know. There's something about it.
Well, I want to tell you this. We interviewed a mom. Oh, it was back in last year in February. Her daughter. It was about Diane Shader Smith is the mom. We watched a documentary done by filmmaker William Battersby, and it's about her daughter. And her daughter was diagnosed at the age of 3 with having cystic fibrosis. And what happened is it really affected her lungs. And she was a very active young kid. And eventually, she learned to live while she was literally dying.
Right.
And she learned to do this from a young age. And the family they lived out in La Jolla area in San Diego, I think it was. And anyway, in the coast, San Diego or Southern California coast. And the ocean, going on the ocean when they told her not to, was the only thing that made her feel better. And they found out, because they used to put her in this like vibrating jacket to move the mucus within her lungs.
Right.
Because she didn't have, like, if anyone has asthma, which I know about at times in my life, once in a blue moon, then I know I've overexerted myself. It's not funny when someone has that. And she basically, to breathe and for everything to work in her body, had this vibrating jacket as a kid, which hurt her. She went in the ocean, and the salt, and the documentary is called Salt in My Soul. And it was the ocean that basically kept her alive, yet sadly she passed. And there's all kinds of reasons why. And I encourage people to watch the documentary. It's hard, but it was about living your life. She ended up still being on sports teams, getting engaged, and became this amazing writer and environmental writer and photographer, just as amazing storyteller, which I think is interesting. When I think there's so much and she kept a diary. So the documentary, and it was actually a book, is what she wrote through all of her medical procedures, everything she went through. She started as a kid. She kept the password until she died.
Yeah.
And she knew she was going. Then she said, here's my password. And that's what they published and turned into a documentary. And they
That's
had
amazing.
all this family footage. And so it just, anyway, this really moved me. So I wanted to go to you back on this with the power of the ocean, because there's something, even Riverside and, you know, all of that, if you're on the lake, all of that kind of connects. There's something with the salt truly that heals. Like whenever we got sick or something, we were like, go to the beach, you know, you'll come back healed. For you, because you've gone through a lot medically, and we want to talk about Joey Day today too. You know, going through, you know, everything. I mean, you've been through so much medical hell that I can't even imagine. It's, you know, to me, it's doctors, anything with a white coat. Maybe it's good you're blind. You don't have to see the white coats, right?
I don't have white coat syndrome.
Yeah, you don't have it like we do, but
I can hear how starched the coats are.
But do you get more introspective, do you think, when you go through these things? I know just some of the medical things I've gone through in life, there's an introspect that comes to you really quickly.
Yeah, you know, I'm a little different, I'll say, because I have a dual nature, and part of my nature is extremely extroverted, where I'm a hugger. I'm very loud and boisterous. I laugh a lot. I'm always, you know, animated and talking. And even when I feel bad, only my very closest friends know that I'm having a problem. You know, I mean, I can count on one hand, you know, the people that know, it's like, hey, dude, you all right? You know, you know, but there's also a reserved, introspective side that thinks very deeply. And this is really true. It sounds stupid, so I forgive you if you think this is all nonsense. But the fact is, when I wake up in the morning, it takes me about an hour and a half to take all my medicine. I have to take them in specific order with a specific number of minutes between each medicine that I take. And I don't have any diseases, so I'm not treating diseases, but what I'm treating are things that my body should be doing for itself, but it can't because the brain tumor destroyed my entire endocrine system and my pituitary gland and several other glands, so including adrenals and stuff like that. So during that time, I'm pretty quiet and I'm very introspective, and I think very deeply about whatever's on my mind. And I have gone through, and so it's about an hour and a half of just very, you know, meditation, if you will. And then the rest of the day, I'm completely just, I don't have to think anymore. I've already thought all the thoughts I needed to think for the day, you know, the deep philosophical questions, any problems I'm having, I thought about that. My mind works very fast. My mouth works very fast. You know, I talk fast, and sometimes my wife says, slow down. I was like, sweetie, I can't slow down. You speed up. You know, it's like you know. But the point is, I do think that introspection, the extrovert in me, comes from the fact that I love life, and that I love people, and that I take great joy in existing, but not just existing, because mere existence is not sufficient. I have been blessed to live a life that I value. I call that, when I do my inspirational talks, I call that a life of intention. And what I mean by that is that I have found a reason to put one foot in front of the other and to fight through whatever issues I have to fight through, because I feel like that I have a purpose and a mission and a statement and you know, a life that I value and that brings value to other people's lives. So that's the extrovert part that's joyful. And the introvert part is the part that has been through near-death experiences a number of times, has had some really horrific things happen. And that part of you has to learn to cope very quickly. But that's part of the reason I have such a weird sense of humor, because when you've almost died a bunch and you've been sick a lot and you've been rushed to the hospital in an ambulance and all these things, you learn that you might as well laugh, because if you're not, you're going to be crying. And that you make a choice of which one to go with. So yeah, I do think that, not just medical, but I think trauma in general does bring out that thoughtful side, because you have to learn to figure out things that are questions that some people maybe don't learn till they're in their 60s or maybe never. Life has this weird way of making things complicated, but really and truly it isn't. What you have to ask yourself is, am I happy? And if not, why? And they've been willing to do something about it. So for me, how that works is I make music because I think it matters. I think it's important, and I think it has value. And then I love people, and I choose to surround myself with people like yourself who are just amazing human beings that bless you just by being around them. And that's how I spend my time. I don't spend my time around people that are negative and, God bless them. But
No.
Joey Stuckey is a drama-free zone.
I'm with you, and we love spending time with you too. And I'm saying that for Nancy as well. And the dogs just barked in joy. I think you let the dogs out. You did. But that's the thing. You got to be joyous. And summertime, like spring, gets you all like tingling. Spring gets you all like, ooh, something's coming. And then summer hits, and you're like,
and you know what else is great about
is.
What else is great about summertime? Baseball. Now, technically, baseball starts in the spring, but it doesn't really get interesting until you played a couple games. So I think
it's about the hot dogs at the baseball stadium.
Don't get me. I don't care what's in those. I'm eating them. Okay. I know that technically they're supposed to be very bad for you. Oh well.
we like to talk about sausage, and hot dogs are good.
Dude,
they're good for you.
The best. I must be a wolfhound because I adore sausage. I know dogs love sausage, but I am a sausage fan, my friend. And again, apparently not particularly good for you. But
okay, everyone, and another link that is going up on our page. And listen, in the show notes, there's a link. I just need to tell everyone this.
Please do. Explain.
We have the music playlist goes in the show notes, and we'll give you a link over to our blendradioandtv.com site, where you'll have a link to just about half of everything we're talking about, from catfish to hot dogs. Sausage Day last year, we did a 4-hour podcast series of sausage.
Cook? Did you cook while you're eating? Like cook while you're on the podcast?
Well, no. But we sang the Sausage Day song, and we had Louisiana represented, California, England, South Africa. We had sausage. Global Sausage Day.
The Brits
yes, they
sausage.
do.
Yeah.
Yes, they do.
One of the big reasons for Brexit is because they didn't want the EU to tell them how to do their sausage.
Oh my God! Don't start. Listen, you take your sausage out of. Okay, don't start me. Do not start me on the sausage thing, because it will go crazy. It'll go crazy. But the Sausage Day. But that will happen. You have to come on our Sausage Day show for this year. We do Sausage Day every year, and that's a new thing. But hot dogs are part of it. That is part of it. 4th of July, people are barbecuing sausage and weenie. Everybody just wants to have a wiener, and who doesn't want to go in the Oscar Mayer wiener car?
Dude, do you think we could start a petition, okay, to let the blind man in a safe area drive the Wienermobile?
You've proven that you can drive. Everyone, the Blind Man Driving song, which is in the playlist, and there's a video of you driving. So I think you could. Do you know that the peanut man? What's the
Mr. Peanut?
Mr. Peanut, that his peanut van. I heard this on another radio show while we were driving. Now his peanut van, which is a big RV shaped in a peanut.
Yeah.
I have to be careful how I say peanut.
Please be careful.
I know, but we're talking about wieners and peanuts.
Articulate.
Peanuts, wieners. It's a great day. It's a way to start off summer. But the peanut van or RV has become a dive bar that you can rent during the summer.
What?
Yeah.
How much does that cost?
Everyone go find it out on yourself. I haven't had a chance. They have some promotion where it's $3.99 for an hour, and you can drink. They did some kind of deal with Miller High Life beer, right? Miller beer and peanuts, warm peanuts.
Yeah,
boiled. And listen, you're from Georgia, so
boiled
nobody wants a cold peanut.
Well, elephants.
Well, George Costanza could tell you. But anyway, I did not say that. But I did not. You did not hear that. Everyone
so here's the thing.
Out.
This is, being
but they
memorialized.
put smells, they infuse dive bar smells into this RV, and you can bring your best friends in, and you're drinking beer and eating peanuts, and they infuse this with old beer, old bar smell, like
I don't, I can't smell either.
Oh, that's right.
So
as a musician, though, most musicians, ever played in a bar know that end of the night beer smell, which actually is pretty gross. But then you become used to it, and then it becomes like, oh yeah, I'm in a dive bar just by the smell.
There's also the sweat of the dancers. If you've got people up.
Ew. Oh, dude, some people have there's always one with the BO.
Yeah.
Now, can you smell it? Is there a smell so strong that you'll go, dude, I smell that?
I am nose blind.
All right. Well, some people would
challenge. Yeah.
That can help. I mean, we're sensitive to sound. Nancy and I are sensitive. Like if people crunch ice, our immediate reaction is to kind of yell, spit, you beat them. It is.
Yeah. Well, I love crunching ice, so I'll have to remember not to do that.
Don't do that.
I'm
but we'll still love you. It doesn't matter.
My wife, well, it'll be a choice though. So, but my wife is, a midwife and has a master's degree in women's health as a nurse practitioner, just brilliant. And but she was around a lot of pregnant women, and pregnant women, compulsively crunch ice. In fact, it can be such a problem with pregnant women that it can cause them to become anemic mildly. So they have to watch that ice crunching. So anyway.
Wow. All right. So let's move from the wieners and the peanuts to the catfish.
I want to talk about catfish. Yeah.
Dude.
So all right. First
we've got a video of you feeding catfish, and I want to know what that was. What
was
what
bread.
Was that?
It was bread. It was just day old bread.
They were flipping up on their bellies.
Wasn't that crazy?
It was weird. Yeah. Did you listen to them? Did you listen to them?
Yeah. I mean, you listen, if you look at this video, it's only a minute and a half long.
Yeah.
That's my wife and I standing there, and I'm feeding them. She's videoing with her phone.
That was in Florida, St. Augustine.
It was St. Augustine, my favorite place. And, but man, let me tell you, these catfish are like mutant catfish. There's something strange going on in St. Augustine out there. I don't know, but I was just feeding them stale bread, and they were just going nuts. And so it's just a weird little video on my.
And by the way, everyone, June 25th, Sunday, June 25th is National Catfish Day.
That's why we're talking
about. And if you're in the South, catfish is.
Frying up a mess of catfish.
Yeah, in Louisiana. Yeah. Our first trip there, where we, hung out in Lake Charles in Southwest Louisiana, where they have boudin, the sausage.
Literally in the lake, or.
Well, we actually went around it. We didn't go in it, but Lake Charles.
Yeah.
We went on these side roads, even through a place called Rice, because they do grow rice. It's one of the top rice producers.
That makes me sad
that
they couldn't think of a better name than rice.
But that's their claim to fame is rice.
I know, but
rice.
Is it not to quote Family Guy, shallow and pedantic? I don't know. It just seems.
I want to know.
I'm not saying you can't have rice in the name, but just to call it hey, what should we call it? Well, I don't know. There's rice, so let's just call it rice.
Yeah, but there's a really good distillery out there that makes rum,
rice
and we
wine?
met from the sugar cane that Louisiana produces. One of the other, so the five things of Louisiana. Other music is huge, obviously at the top. But and I love Louisiana. Billy Nungesser, the Lieutenant General, has been on our show twice, and we're gonna have to bring him back on for another project we're doing. But what I love about that, when he was like, we give back, like when you go to Louisiana, if the cities and the communities putting on a festival, and you know all about this with, being the ambassador of music for Macon, Georgia, leading into your day. But catfish is a big deal in Louisiana. There's fry night, Friday fish fry night. It's all over. Wherever you drive in the backwoods and the back swampy areas, you'll see little community places. I always say Louisiana is like its own country within our country. And I mean that in a positive way. It's kept its integrity so much. But he said the musicians, if a festival or something like that happens, event is put on, and the town and the city or the organizers hire musicians from Louisiana, they help put money, the state will help put money back towards that.
Yeah.
If same thing is, and encouraging them to use their own seafood instead of shipping it in. So they're trying to keep their integrity really, really strong with that.
Well,
but
they have
sugarcane, oil, all of that is their big thing, but sugarcane, rice, and so they're very, very proud of it, and they should be.
Yeah, and they should be.
Good.
They have one of the few states that has a music office that, you know, supports with grants and other things, trying to keep that going. And I think the history of Louisiana and New Orleans in particular, it makes sense. And
have you performed in Louisiana?
Lafayette. I've been to Lafayette.
Well, Lafayette's right next to Lake Charles, so it's in the Southwest.
Yeah, I've been.
And they actually have Boudin wars between them.
Yeah.
But they have Boudin wars between Lake Charles and Lafayette and Sulphur.
They should. Yeah, I've enjoyed that. And then I've been to. Have I performed in New Orleans? You know, I don't think I've played. I've been there a number of times, but I don't think I've actually played there, and I can't remember why. But I think I mainly been passing through, but I'm very familiar with their music and have heard some music and stuff there and all that. But I definitely want to get back to that area and do some performing. I got a dear friend that lives in that area, in a place called in Mississippi, but it's close by, called Hattiesburg, Mississippi. And,
Hattiesburg.
That's where University of Southern Mississippi is.
I love Mississippi. Well, listen, I love the South and Georgia.
Hattiesburg is an amazing place, and it really, I was treated so well. I don't know if everybody gets treated that well, but I was treated so well that I spent a week. Was it a week? I think about a week there doing some guest lectures at University of Southern Mississippi, and then performing as well, and then also doing inspirational talk to their disabled student population. So I spent a week there with them and had a blast. It was awesome, and the food was so good. I'm sure I gained 2 pounds.
Now the food. I mean, the food, and you're in Georgia, so you got peaches, you got peanuts.
Yeah.
You put peaches. You got that on your.
Well, I call it pecans, but some people say pecans. But you know, pecans are here, and a big thing here, and a big thing because of one of the. And I know you know about this, being the traveler you are and being all on the highways. The Stuckey's Candy Store, which has origins in Georgia, uses pecans and
dude.
You know,
I saw your Stuckey. Listen, your Stuckey's is not just in Georgia. I swear to God, we saw them in Oklahoma, and I wanted to call it Oklahoma, Missouri. Listen, okay, no, this is real. So we were driving from Oklahoma up through Missouri on our way to Iowa. Okay, so we see the sign, right? Stuckey's, and we wanted to call you because Stuckey's.
Yeah,
you're in Oklahoma. I thought you guys were only in Georgia. Apparently not.
We were all over at one time.
Well, let me tell you.
Yeah.
Okay, go ahead. I was just going to tell you what the next billboard sign was after Stuckey's.
Okay.
Do you really want to hear?
I do.
Then we crossed over from Oklahoma, and there was a sign for a candy factory and all this stuff. And then there was a billboard sign, and this is for real. Uranus Fudge Factory. For real. And so, of course,
I have a lot of things I want to say about that, but I'm not.
And if you just type in Uranus Fudge Factory on Google, you'll go to their website and it says, "Welcome to Uranus." And then it pops up with a sign, normally like if it's a winery or a bar, it'll say, "Are you 21?" Mm-hmm. But it pops up and says, "Want to probe Uranus even deeper?"
Oh, dear
what
God.
happens in Uranus stays in Uranus. And so you can say yes or no. And then anyway, so then it goes to the website, whatever you do is what you do. And says, "Welcome to Uranus. The best fudge comes from Uranus. Explore Uranus in 90 seconds. So I'm just going to say, from going from Stuckey's to Uranus, Nancy and I were floored.
And also, Stuckey's, one of our legendary, I say our, well, like I own the place, which I don't, but my cousin.
That's family, yeah.
But one of our things is we were legendary for the cleanest restrooms on the interstate. So you go from a place that's known for family fun, rubber alligators and pecan logs and the cleanest restrooms on the interstate to, you know, the Fudge Factory that has some questionable content. I can see how that'd be a shocking experience for anybody.
Oh, no, come on, but this was a corridor, like literally. I'm not kidding.
That's
This
crazy.
was a car. It started with Stuckey's, and we were like, Stuckey's, you're in Oklahoma, you strayed out of the.
That's right.
And we're like, this is cool.
We're
But that
working
is
on
true
worldwide
because they were promoting clean restrooms, and I think you guys have a dog park.
Right.
I swear to
right.
God.
Yeah.
There was a dog park. Of course, we were like, who let the dogs out?
Well, my cousin has brought, she's brought back the old recipes for the pecan logs and the goo clusters and all that kind of stuff. But she's also brought back, and this is really interesting. The Stuckey's used to have really, and I say this with love, and she says it with love, really cheesy souvenirs, like rubber alligators. And I remember them vividly as a child. And she's brought back the Stuckey's souvenir mystery box, which you can get online. And it sends you you got the rubber alligator and a coffee mug, and I don't know, just these weird chintzy things.
It's like the stuff you get in your cereal box,
Yeah, pretty much.
And like Christmas time, you pull the cracker.
Absolutely.
And you get the floppy fish.
Yeah,
I love a Christmas.
I buy the expensive crackers. I actually got a nice screwdriver set on my cracker last year. So there you go.
Wow.
Yeah, and I'm a nerd to say, wow, nice screwdriver set. But yeah, so
that's in case you have a family fight during Christmas.
Then you stab them in the neck.
Yeah, like I told you not to do that. I told you one more time. That's it.
A fool. Yeah. So and then but then she's also introduced something new. She's brought back a lot of the classics, but she's introduced pecan beer. Now, I'm not a beer drinker. I'm not a beer drinker, and I don't know if it's good. Pecan beer does not particularly sound appetizing to me, but if you're a beer drinker and if you like pecans, maybe you should try it. I don't know.
I think we'll have to go see her.
Yeah. Well, she should actually she should be on your show at some point. I will.
Yeah. We'll go visit. We'll go visit on our road trips. Because when we saw Stuckey's, but this is okay. So I got to stop the conversation here and make the announcement of this stuff because
we're
going to still get to Joey Day because this is another big announcement and cool stuff.
Yeah.
So speaking of road trip, we're talking about summer. And everyone, we do this on the Big Weekly Blend. We talk about all the holidays in the week, right? So all of that will be on that link, music playlist to go with it. Joey's got songs. We've got songs. Lots of good friends in the songs. Joey's friends, our friends. It's all cool and famous people. All of it's in there. And we love our friends too. They're more important. Did I say that?
Yeah.
I did. Listen, independent music is important and you must listen to it. And when you go on a road trip, playlists are cool. So I say, check out our playlist on Spotify and YouTube.
Yeah.
So the road trip is part of summer and this is now, and it is awesome. So we've been covering, Nancy and I travel full time and we pet sit. That's why Nancy's hanging out with dogs. And hey, this is the cool thing. We pet sit so we can do our shows. It's something that happened during COVID. That tourism was a little weird, as traveling.
To say the least.
But it turned out to be one of the best things we've ever done. As I went to 16 schools in different countries. So I've been traveling my whole life.
Yeah.
And it just once it's in your blood, it's in your blood. I think I even wanted to become a musician as a way to travel. I think that was part of it.
No, I get it.
But
I have the same wanderlust.
It's a zest for something new, and it's not that you're from yourself, all that stuff. Yeah. I've gone home plenty of time, and then I'm like, come on, I want another adventure because you're learning new. It's about having an open mind to learning new things.
Yes.
And if you want to learn about yourself, learn new things.
Yeah.
And test yourself. Like, you're going to keep your old opinions. Are you really going to hold on to that? Or are you going to change your mind? Well, changing mind means facts and actually experience. So that's what road trips are cool. It's a cool thing with friends, family, changing perceptions, new traditions can be made, and new highways. So Nancy and I have done historic trails like the Pony Express. We've done parts of that. We've done the Juan Bautista de Anza National Trail, which is this expedition that they led on horseback from Mexico through Tucson to found the city of San Francisco at the Presidio. Wow. 200 people on foot. Only one person died, and this was in 1776. Here we were at the time, becoming America.
That's amazing.
When Juan Bautista goes with Father Font across the desert 200 people that wanted a better life. Think about the history we have now that we're making new.
Yeah.
Now, they walk across the desert. They go up to the city of San Francisco. They founded it. The Presidio came from this expedition. Now it's a National Historic Trail. One person died, and it was in childbirth right outside the city of San Diego, of Tucson. Another Presidio at San Xavier del Bac, which is this amazing Spanish style cathedral mission. Excuse me. Anyway, it is beautiful, and you should go. But anyway, so we've done things like that, and you get immersed in the historic sites. Of course, there's Route 66. There's the old Dixie Highway that is kind of going to be near Joey.
Right.
There's old Highway 80 that goes from San Diego up to what state? Georgia. Just saying. Then there's trails like the Appalachian Trail, but that's hiking. But there's the Lincoln Highway. There's also the Jefferson Highway, which is something we glimpsed onto this year, past actually a year and a half now. And we've been doing a podcast every fourth Thursday. And it's like you go into this rabbit hole of history. Bonnie and Clyde, got in trouble out there. And Belle Starr, which so many musicians like Mark Knopfler and Emmylou Harris covered the song Belle Starr. You can be, a Belle Starr, there's so many songs on these outlaws. So that outlaw history is there. So when you road trip, it's not just about seeing the sights and driving and getting tired and having these crazy experiences. It's also like, where were you? Joey's, family history of Stuckey's, pull over to Stuckey's, because now you know someone who's connected to that. And it's like, this was a family business that expanded and is reimagining and re-expanding and redoing, right?
Yeah.
That is part of American history. And that's something this road trip thing is so huge. These roadside things like Uranus Fudge Factory. I'm sorry, that's funny, but it's fun. Come on, it's for all ages. It's not selling drugs.
Well,
fudge is a good drug.
Fudge, that's what I want to know.
I don't know. What are you going to judge it with? How are you going to judge it?
Yeah,
judge the fudge.
The fudge.
Stick your finger in and taste it.
Yeah.
Judge the fudge. But this is the thing. So we Jefferson Highway is a big deal, and we're actively doing this. And Jefferson Highway was actually one of the very, very first ones, very first international highway, and only one of this day in this country. Started in 12 or 13. I'm going to get it wrong, but it was 12 or 13, I believe. Started by the editor of the Better Homes and Garden magazine. It goes from Winnipeg, Canada to New Orleans. And it goes through the Midwest, and it was to encourage tourism to these smaller communities. Now, driving through this, and we've done parts of it, and we didn't know about the highway. Now we're conscious about it. You see old bridges where people are actively putting the old JH sign on these old bridges that aren't even bridges anymore. People are putting signs back up, and this revival is happening. Like Route 66 went away. And I remember when we had our print magazine, Southwest Blend, when we were living outside Joshua Tree, and Arizona started the revival of Route 66. And it brought tourism back because we had the interstate that came in, and Eisenhower put the interstate in. He was the,
I didn't know that. I did
that.
Know that. I didn't know
that is for World War II. And I was against it later in life because I was all upset about small business, but I realized those small businesses really wouldn't be there if he didn't do it. So it was important that he did that.
You said Joshua Tree. Was that California or?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. That's supposed to be a very cool place for music and stuff. So
yeah. Oh, Joshua Tree. So we lived in 29 Palms, which is one of the biggest military bases in the country. It's a Marine base. And so Joshua Tree Park itself has huge history. So obviously U2 and the album Joshua Tree was there. And Harmony Hotel motel out there, when you drive on Highway 62, they stayed there for a couple days, but they titled it Joshua Tree, the album, but they didn't stay there for months and months.
No.
Huge people do live out there. I met Dick Dale in the post office when I was living there.
Oh, wow.
Eric Burton lived out there. Now Pappy and Harriet's is down down more towards Palm Springs and of the south side of Joshua Tree, towards Palm Springs on the highway. Pioneer Town is an old Western town, like truly. Movie set history is insane. You can say in Pioneer Motel, Pappy and Harriet's is one of the best, most iconic places to go for live music. It is this old Western kind of bar. Outside barbecues, dance floors. I mean, everyone has played there. And I miss Ryan Bingham, and he was on our show like a few years back with his Tomorrowland album, and I just missed him. I was like, are you kidding me? I performed there actually one night years ago, but it's iconic. Everyone goes there and performs, especially when they start their tours heading out of LA. They do that as kind of like they're getting their feet wet kind of thing. Yeah. Josh Homme from Kings of Leon is out there. Speaking of today, June 25th, is Anthony Bourdain Day. Oh. Anthony Bourdain's music comes from the King of Leon's and Josh Homme, who got all through that. And Anthony Bourdain put Iggy Pop back on the map with them. They did music like Magnolia, and Josh Homme wrote that. And there's a famous episode with Anthony Bourdain going out there, going to Integratron, which is like a spaceship. We're going into space stuff this month too. So there's space music in the music. The Integratron, where the Vesuvians are, anyway, Venusians. It's about the Venusians and Von Tassel. Anyway, I have a documentary for you to watch on that too. But going back into the road trip thing, that is a road trip. So a lot of people will travel through the desert. Joshua Tree has Graham Parsons. That may be part of the thing musically that you're thinking about, Graham Parsons.
My friends at Mojave Audio are the ones that told me about this.
Where they dragged his coffin through and burned his coffin.
Well, they didn't tell me about that. They just told me about how there was amazing just people making music out there in the Joshua area. They said I had to go and visit next time I was in California. So that's why I was and apparently there's some sort of, I may be saying this wrong, but there's some sort of sonic bath where you can.
That's the Integratron.
Yeah.
So the Integratron is done by Von Tassel, which is a scientist, and he built this structure where it vibrates and eventually would vibrate up to the Venusians. It's out in Lucerne Valley area, and Lucerne Valley has these rocks that he thought the Venusians were coming, and people would come, and now people have graffitied them and screwed it up, but the Venusians were coming, so he thought he was talking to aliens.
What year was that?
Oh, wait, okay, let me just.
Well, I ask because, the more we've discovered about Venus, the more we are pretty sure there's no life there.
So we've done Venus, we've done Venus and Uranus today.
Yes.
Okay, I've got to go find that interview we did. I will find it. Okay. I will have to find it another time, but I have been on a big announcement. Yeah, the road trip thing. But anyway, Graham Parsons, they did drag his coffin out through there in the desert and burned it. Yeah, was that because they were mad at him or because you asked? No, it was a celebration.
Okay,
I could be wrong about it, but there's rumors.
No, wait. No, look, I'm relying on you to give me valid, good information.
Yeah, no, but that's the rumor. Rumor has it.
No. So you didn't say that part.
That's what happened. Graham I said, don't. Okay.
I must have stopped listening.
I'm sorry. No, it is. He died in Joshua Tree. He did die out there.
Yeah.
In September, at the Joshua Tree Inn, looking at this, he was dead on arrival. But there is this whole, there's his body. There's a whole story that people need to go look up about it. But yes, that following the report of his body, the casket was sighted burning by campers. See, I'm not out of it. There's a weird story about it. So you guys have to go check it out and go down your own rabbit hole of that. But this is about road trip and Joshua Tree area. You've got to go. It's booming. 29 Palms is welcoming travelers, and it's just Wonder Valley is crazy.
I want you to take me. Is the thing.
I'll take you there.
How do I make that happen?
Well, we just have a call after this. Well, we'll set it up. No, we'll set it up. No, seriously. No, and you've got to go to Pappy and Harriet's.
I want to play there. I don't want to. I want to perform there. I don't want. I get restless if I watch music. I'm more of a stage person.
No, I know. Of course you want to perform there. You're a performer. But
Right.
so the road trip thing is Nancy and I are kicking off a new show because we keep threatening to do this. And so we are kicking off a new road trip radio show, Big Blend Road Trip
Nice.
Radio, because that's what we do. We are on a permanent road trip. Nancy and I have some very crazy stories of things that we see on the road. So that'll be incorporated. But we've been doing so many radio shows of virtual road trips. And where we, it's like we do shows where here, Route 66, here's different people calling in on Route 66. So you can hear where you want to go to help you plan. But we also want to do rest area radio. That will come one day, but we can incorporate it into that because we people watch wherever we go.
Yeah. Yeah. Same show.
It's all part of it. Like we watched some woman actually give her husband a pedicure on a bench at a rest area.
Okay.
While he was smoking a cigarette lying on the bench on his back.
Whatever gets you through the day, I guess.
But that's some fun stuff. That's travel. That's what I'm talking about.
Just a pedicure?
Yeah. So anyway, our new show is coming out every fourth Monday.
All right.
So that is our new thing.
Wow.
So it's going to air
after you hear us together
today,
on Sunday.
It's going to move over to the next Monday.
Wild times indeed.
Exactly. So we kicked it off. The spurring of this was we had a retired professor from Yale, and historian, Wes Davis, join us. He's a best-selling author, and he came on with his latest book. It is called American Journey on the Road with Henry Ford, Thomas Edison, and John Burroughs. Yes, they took an epic road trip back in 1918.
Wow.
Also includes Firestone in there. Now think about this. I mean, it's crazy. They went through some of the Appalachian areas. They went to Vermont. They did all of this, but also we're talking about America and the expansion of America and how to preserve nature. And Henry Ford had an argument with the naturalist John Burroughs on bird songs. They actually had contests on the road about knowing bird calls. Who knew? And when they broke down, Ford was the one who got his hands dirty.
Right. Well, you would hope so.
Yeah, well, you would, right?
Yeah.
So there's all of this. And when they traveled, it wasn't like we're just checking into a motel. They were camping like they did back in the day on the Jefferson Highway. And now I was like, that's it. And yet the Jefferson Highway was before this epic road trip. So I'm just saying.
I'm more of a glamper myself. I'm more of a glamper. I must tell you.
I've done, I grew up camping.
Yeah, I like indoor restrooms and air conditioning.
You got to think in 1918, you didn't have any of that.
Well, I know. That's why I'm glad I wasn't born then.
You probably had a potty. You had a potty, but it wasn't, depending. And in those areas, they're outhouses, man.
Yeah. Well,
So anyway, Edison, we're kicking that off. So a lot of music that Joey put in and we put in is road trip music. And we want you all to do that.
Edison's very dear to my heart for a couple of reasons. Although I suppose if one forced me to choose, I would probably side with Tesla. But although
that's an interesting story too.
Yeah, well, poor Tesla and his pigeons. I don't know, poor guy. Anyway, but the thing is about Edison, like I had a bucket list thing happen to me in regard to Thomas Edison, and that was that I got to be recorded on an honest to goodness Edison wax cylinder. And
that's awesome.
It was so cool. And they actually gave me the cylinder. They took it back to the Edison Museum in New Jersey and they digitized it and they gifted me with a cylinder. And I am in the company of people like Suzanne Vega, who has done some stuff with the Edison Museum. So that was pretty exciting.
That's amazing. I mean, it's interesting when you think about technology and how we've grown, right?
Oh gosh.
So some of the holidays when I look at, they have one, which is Waffle Iron Day in this week, right?
Who doesn't love a waffle?
Listen, a good waffle. Now in South Africa, we used to have ice cream on our waffles.
That sounds delicious. I'm all about it. I'm going to do that tonight.
Yeah.
For dinner. I also think waffle irons make a hell of a weapon.
Are you back to that again? Joey.
What?
Joey. Man, you got a lot of weapons going on. Screwdrivers. But
I'm just saying, you hit someone in the face with a waffle iron, they remember.
There's also a nice National Ice Cream Cake Day, and that would be
Ooh,
good. Yeah.
Fudgy the
But
Whale.
the waffle iron. So back
Yeah.
in Erie, Erie, Pennsylvania, we went
Yeah.
to a museum, the Hagen Historical Center. I'm saying it wrong, everyone. I'm sorry. I'm gonna have to look it up. It will be in the links. But there was a mansion, historical mansion, but it was actually like known as Millionaires Row at that point. And I'm gonna find the center, but they had a whole display just on waffle irons.
Wow.
And what was interesting, it was about industrialization up there. So they had all these brick buildings and industrialization in history. And being from, more of the southwest side of my life and a little bit of Florida, like my life was not back east or north like that. And this is when you start to see industrialization and Carnegie stuff, when you go up, and you've done like DC and stuff like that too.
Oh yeah.
And it's just this other vibe. And and when you see it too, and I know that's different for you.
Yeah.
I wonder if you feel that, like, but they had the Woodsy Manor. I'm going to get this for everybody. But when we were there, the displays and everyone, it's the Hagen History Center. I wasn't so wrong.
No, you're close enough.
And no, I wasn't. And it's the Watson Curtsey Mansion, which shows this guy who actually was the one who invented asbestos. Go figure.
Oh dear.
Made millions off of asbestos, had this fancy mansion. You go in and he had all these opulent things that were Victorian and all of this. And he really didn't give a damn about any of it. It was really just to show off his wealth. And that's what they were all into. But in this museum side, they were showing all of what they did with cast iron, was that's what the facilities were doing. And that, because of transportation and the rail, that's how, like, they could make it all they wanted. It's like you can make music all you want, but if you don't promote it, it's like,
yeah, it's all about
good for you. That's nice. It didn't touch anybody because no one heard it.
Right,
you know what I mean? And it's the same thing as these waffle irons. And that is, the railroad is responsible for these waffle irons, and us eating waffles.
So I have a question.
The world.
How much innovation can you have in a waffle iron? I mean, once you have the basic functionality down,
yeah,
what
you don't need to do anything. Well, they've made sandwich presses and panini presses and stuff like that that mimics it.
Panini press. Okay.
Yeah, so they've mimicked things and learned from it. Like in the same thing in Michigan, we said at the Leonard and Logan Mansion. It's a old brownstone house. It's now a bed and breakfast.
Indoor plumbing?
And this woman, oh my God, oh yes, and this woman can cook. Ruth Andrus can cook. Oh,
I like her already.
Seriously, breakfast is like, it's like going to Vegas and having your own personal chef for a buffet. Like everything.
I mean, are there strippers? Just asking.
No, I don't think she's that way. She has a good sense of humor, though. No, I meant on the food. But
food can be sexy.
This is the thing about some of these places, like all these areas that we've been to. Like, I didn't realize where all this came from. This Leonard Logan, the guy who built this house, and his family. So next door to them is an old Frank Lloyd Wright house that was inspired, and he started and he walked off because he had a fight with his apprentice, and he finished it. I think it was a lady. She finished it. He was temperamental, Frank Lloyd Wright. But at Logan and Manor, Leonard at Logan House, Leonard at Logan is the street. This guy invented making it that inside your refrigerator that you could wipe things off, because when we first had refrigerators going from the old ice box outside your house with ice, that we had a refrigerator, right? We had that, but then his wife was like, well, I can't wipe anything down. If you spill the milk, it's all stuck. So he's the one who invented how to have refrigerators that we have today, that you can wipe things down and all of that.
Nice.
We find out weird stuff. This is talk about road trips, stuff you would never know about. But I think that's so important that places like that, whether it's a museum or a bed and breakfast, keeps these stories alive. Do you feel that way as a musician, that you're totally keeping people alive, like what they did?
Yeah, I mean, I was working on a song the other day, and and part of the theme was, I'm a simple bard. That's which is true, but also not true. And in this fact that you can be, you can say, okay, I'm just a simple bard singing these songs, but really, music is what moves me, right? Because as much as I'm fascinated by the Mona Lisa or Rodin's, sculptures or whatever, they don't really speak to me as much because I just can't perceive them. Sculptures you can touch if you're lucky. They tend not to stroke the sculptures like they used to when I was a kid. But anyway, so for me it's music, but art in general plays critical roles. I think there's a trifecta of roles that art plays, and so the first one is historian. To help us remember the past. The second one is how to look towards the future. So we're visionaries in that sense. And then the third one is to open our minds and our hearts and our spirits to evolution, and to find a sense of unity with our fellow beings. So there's that. There's basically that shared human condition.
I love it.
That we talk about. So yeah, I totally think that. I think that's amazing. And that's why I'm so proud of my cousin Stephanie Stuckey, who's doing this thing with Stuckey's, and she's taking her grandfather's, her grandfather's legacy and bringing it back, and the Stuckey stores used to be an integral part of road trips. And in fact, the Stuckey stores have been mentioned in such popular culture iconic TV shows as Family Guy. They have been mentioned in such iconic novels as Stephen King's The Talisman. So
no way.
There's certainly.
I love that novel.
Yeah, it's a great novel. And by the way, just hats off to Stephen King. He has two novels where the blind person is the hero. So he's dear to my heart for that. Thank you, Stephen King. Black House is one, which is the sequel to Talisman, and also The Langoliers. But at any rate, yeah, I mean, I think Stuckey's clearly was at least a nominal part of the zeitgeist in the 70s and 80s for sure.
But I think we're coming back to our roots, because like when we saw Stuckey's, we were like, whoa, because there's also there's Buc-ee's. See, this is what's
Buc-ee's is cool. I've been there.
Dude, now what is so? No, because it's funny, because it was all about clean restrooms, and this is a big deal. And I will tell you, during COVID, Nancy and I traveled everywhere. And during the complete shutdown, we were at our friends out in 29 Palms and Joshua Tree and did radio shows every single day. And now we're still doing it. And I don't know how, but we are. But we we're like, we were on the road, and the rest areas, like the government highway ones.
Yeah.
When we used to go gag, literally.
Yeah.
Like gag me with a spoon, rest areas.
Or not. Yeah.
Or not. Yeah, don't. But when you go in, they stepped up like you wouldn't believe. And they're so much cleaner. I can now tell you, we've now realized we need to now put them as what a park is, because a lot of them, they have picnic areas, walking paths.
Yeah, some of them are really nice. Yeah.
We were just in Illinois yesterday at one Illinois? That was the Great Road of the Mississippi River, Great River Road. And it follows the Mississippi River. And you could actually sit at a picnic bench overlooking the Mississippi River and a bridge crossing over from where were we? Iowa into Illinois. Make some noise in Illinois.
That drives them crazy.
But that was beautiful. So
that sounds pretty cool.
Like, it was cool. And so Nancy and I were like, wow, this is, so we need to start doing that in some rest areas, like in Texas. There are rest areas that actually have oil derricks as part of their theme of the picnic sites.
Neat.
There's and there's ones that are more like a chuck wagony kind of thing. Hard to explain. And then there's ones like there's one in Iowa that has like the windmills, or is that Ohio? I have to get that straight. But it
sounds Iowan to me.
Yeah, I mean, because there's Elkhorn, Iowa. I think it was.
There are a lot of windmills in Ohio as well, because we've driven from Macon, Georgia, to Fort Wayne, Indiana, and pass some windmills out in the middle of nowhere.
It's really fascinating.
Yeah.
I mean, some of the windmills, some of the one is from the Netherlands, or Swedish. I don't.
Holland.
I have to go back. No, no, it's like I have to go back to it, but I think
Dutch?
it's
It's not Dutch.
Yeah, no, it was. I have to go back and look at my notes. I mean, Nancy and I probably have done just over the pandemic 1,500 parks and public lands. So
nice.
My brain is a little fuzzy on every single where, who, what, and where, but we've done it, and we're now redoing our entire website of all of it so people can see it. But on top of what we did before that, so we're probably over 2,000. I would say 2,000 to 3,000 parks and public lands, and we're including some of the rest areas, the ones that are truly. There's one in Arkansas. You can sit in the middle of nowhere, and they welcome you to camp overnight, and which we did. We because we wanted to be in Mark Twain Forest for sunrise to film. So that's what a lot of what we do is we do car camp in certain areas just for a few hours because we need to get to a sunrise. Oh my gosh, it was amazing. We hung out with owls and deer, and yeah, it was amazing. We were all by ourselves out in the middle of nowhere.
You don't know this, but the owl is my personal symbol of hope.
See?
And in fact, I am wearing, and this is honest to God truth, I'm wearing a t-shirt right now that has a big owl on it and looks kind of grumpy. It says, "Shut up and bring me coffee."
I want some coffee. I need some.
I actually had some. I've been up a long time. I actually had some started. So
we had coffee as soon as we just arrived in Indianapolis today.
Like, easy for you to say.
Yeah, barely. But it was like as soon as we were ready, like get the coffee on now because we didn't even have time to do that.
I know.
You know, it's kind of but the road trip. Listen, the road trip is, these places like Buc-ee's, Stuckey's. I think that's funny, Buc-ee's and Stuckey's. But it is about clean rest areas. But and you have to be careful how long you stay too. Like some places like Florida will kick you out, but because there are people who are living in their cars. So there's a difference from road tripping.
Exactly.
So we do have that issue in our country. Right. But responsible tourism can help shift that too. So the road trip is an iconic American thing to do. And I am seeing the numbers go up and up and up on that. And I encourage people to get off of the big highways, go on these historic routes, like Jefferson Highway, Lincoln Highway, the Dixie Highway. There's highways all over that. I mean, this one on the Mississippi, I didn't even know about it. And I'm like, dude, now I have to go do that. So that's why the road trip radio, there are so many highways, and they keep what small town America is. And when you go into those diners, there's nothing like, come on, like the Blues Brothers knew it, man. When you went into the diner, Aretha Franklin's going to come out and sing to you. The Blues Brothers, they're going to come out, man. But isn't that awesome. The truth? But isn't that it, Joey? Like,
it is.
As a musician, for you coming out of Georgia, isn't that it? Those diners, you guys have those diners.
Yeah.
Let's talk about Macon.
Yeah.
Road trip in Macon. So apparently we need to all make a date in September for a music festival celebrating Joey.
And it's free.
The music, it's a free concert that's been going on for years. Had some delays from pandemics and all kinds of stuff. Yeah. But September 29th is Joey Day in Macon, Georgia. Macon, Georgia. Give everyone just an overview of Macon in regards to why people should go to Macon, because as far as I know, I want to go for the music and obviously meet you. That's priority here. But
we do. I am pleased to tell you that Macon is what I consider a music city. It does not, the only reason, I guess I should say, that we're not ranked up there alongside Nashville or LA or name a music city, New Orleans. The only reason is that we don't have the same infrastructure that those towns do. I have been working on building our infrastructure here since I arrived in town. Well, I guess technically not. I arrived here when I was 15 years old, but I started getting paid to be a music professional by the time I was 19. And so since I was 19 years old, I've been working hard to both preserve and promote our heritage, but also look to the future. And because I think both are important. You don't want to get stuck in one or the other. You don't want to think about the future to the exclusion of the past and vice versa. So anyway, but we're working hard on our infrastructure, and it is getting better. We've really revitalized our downtown area, and I'm pleased to report that we have some of the finest restaurants, all within 2 blocks of my recording studio. There's probably about 10 of them, and they're just fantastic. I mean, just fantastic. And one of the local restaurants, which was one of the first places I ever got a gig as a musician, is called the Rookery. And the stage is about the size of a postage stamp, or at least it was. It's bigger. It's a little bigger now, but it's still small. But it was tight, and it literally was probably 6 by 6 or something. I mean, it's small, but they have a lot of signature hamburgers, and they're almost all named after famous Macon musicians. There's a few that aren't. Like there's one called the Jimmy Carter Burger, which is our president of the United States. He was from Plains, Georgia. And my dad was actually his Southeastern campaign coordinator for his.
No way.
Yeah, he really was. So I know President Carter well. I've sung for a couple of events that he's been at. And so anyway, but there's one called the Jimmy Carter Burger, which is peanut butter and bacon, which sounds ridiculous, but it's actually really good.
Wait, listen. That's Elvis did that. The Elvis, you know that I eat peanut butter and pickles sandwiches, right? And I'm not pregnant. And no, but Elvis burgers had peanut butter, pickles,
and banana, wasn't it?
Banana. No bananas for me. Okay, but yeah. I love first one I had was in Ruby Tuesdays when I first got to this country. And teaching music. Ruby Tuesdays, everyone. If you want a little regional chain, listen, like Waffle House. Really listen, Waffle Houses, iconic, must do. Sorry,
delicious,
smothered.
sticky but delicious.
Oh, I don't care how bad it is for us. It is just once in a while you got to have like a good Waffle House thing in the South, but Ruby Tuesdays too, and Bahama Mamas to that.
Oh yeah,
they do
good
that.
Stuff. Yeah,
yeah. I got myself in trouble, but I behave now. But they I learned. I didn't get into any legal trouble. No. I just like realized that sweet things have a kick to them too.
Yeah, keep talking.
But nothing bad. I didn't get into any legal issues.
I love that you're qualifying. I didn't get any legal trouble.
Yeah, but I get into trouble.
So does that mean you were in illegal trouble?
No, I don't have any. I've never had anything.
I think what you're saying is you've never been caught.
Probably. Maybe.
Anyway,
I plead the fifth. But but anyway, I mean, but the thing, this pickle and peanut butter and bacon on a burger.
It's so good.
Seriously, it is damn good.
Intuitively, you're like, this is stupid, but I'm telling you, you should try it. Anyway,
I want to ask you about Macon. Yeah. Because we did a podcast maybe a month ago, Nancy and I think when it was Daily Blend going to Weekly Blend. And it was like crazy because it was like back-to-back days of one of the Allman Brothers and Barry Oakley like died in the same. They have like it was in Macon, Georgia, the bridge or something that is.
Yeah, that's exactly right. So the thing about Barry Oakley and Dwayne Allman is they actually died exactly a year to the day of each other.
It's weird. It's a weird story.
Accidents. Yeah. And on the same, I believe, I may be wrong about this, but I'm pretty sure it's on the same highway or road. But so
same bridge area.
Yeah.
Or something.
So so the thing about Macon, I was telling you, we have amazing food, but we also have a number of really beautiful churches. If you like church architecture, there's a lot of really beautiful churches here in town. We have one of the largest per capita churches for a town our size. I think probably the one that's most inspiring to me is the Catholic church called St. Joseph's. It's really beautiful. But anyway, but musically, we have a lot of things to recommend us. So one thing is we have the Allman Brothers Museum here.
What?
So Allman Brothers spent a lot of time in Macon, Georgia. They were not from Macon, Georgia. A lot of people.
Were they Athens?
No, they were actually from Alabama.
Oh, that's true. That's true. Now that I
Yeah.
think.
So and then Greg
Yeah.
Greg lived in Tampa for a while, and then he lived in Savannah, Georgia for a while.
Greg
And actually,
almost was on our show, and then he passed.
well,
He wasn't well, and then he passed
he
away.
was. I'll tell you something about that. The last album that was released, I think on Rounder Records. I may have that wrong, but I'm pretty sure that's right. But his last album was incomplete. The vocal tracks on that record are scratch vocals, meaning they were his first take where he was kind of just singing along, trying to figure out what he wanted to do. And, I feel real torn about that because part of me thinks, okay, Greg fans want to hear his final record. Okay.
Yeah.
So release it. But part of me thinks that was not his completed vision. So don't release it. So I'm very torn about it. And the reason I know a little bit about that record more than the general public is because I was actually slated to record his vocals for him. They called me and said, Joey, we want to, because I knew some of the people in his entourage. Greg always said he remembered me. I met him on several occasions. I don't know if he really did or not. He was always very kind to me. But they said, Joey, Greg's health is not great, and we need a place that's, a place that has, the technical expertise that we need, but also is very no nonsense and no extra personnel.
Get on with it.
You know what I mean?
Move it.
Yeah. We need somewhere that is what the thing about me is when I make when we work in the studio together, I'm about making a record. I am not going to tolerate rock and roll lifestyle stuff. So you keep your drugs and your sexual escapades and your alcohol outside the studio. And the reason for that is because
there's many.
if you want to live that way, look, that's your choice. Do what you want. I don't care. But it's not conducive to making a record. Is all I can tell you. So they wanted to come, and then he passed away before we did it. And they actually sent me. They actually sent me some of the files, to load up and get ready for him, and then he passed away. So anyway, but yeah, we have the Allman Brothers Museum. Allman Brothers are a big part of Macon musical history. Another Alabama group that came to Macon in the 70s was the band Wet Willie. And Jimmy Hall's a good friend of mine from that band, Jimmy was also the singer for Jeff Beck Band before he passed. So anyway, we have the sounds of so many, Chuck Leavell, who is the keyboard player for the Rolling Stones and has been since the Wheels record, is a Macon boy. And he's a big part of it. Randall Bremner did a lot of stuff with a band called Sea Level and a band called Cowboy. And then of course he had the Randall Bramlett band. And then of course Randall was
That's right. Right. That's it.
And then Randall played with Greg Allman and friends. He played with the band Traffic. He played with Steve Winwood. See, that's that big web. Yeah, and also Randall has had 2 of his songs recorded by Bonnie Raitt. So he's an incredible talent and a dear friend of mine. I consider him a mentor and just he's so good. I don't know. I mean, he's like he sings, he writes, he plays piano, he plays saxophone, all at an extremely high level. I mean, it's almost sickening. He's so good. I mean, he's just so good. But anyway, the point is that we have a lot of music here. Little Richard is from Macon, Georgia.
That was the other one that came up in something we were doing.
Yeah.
Every time I see it, I'm like, Joey.
Yeah.
Joey.
And Otis Redding. Otis Redding is from Macon, Georgia. And so, and we also have, if you like the architecture and some people, I personally don't like wandering around cemeteries. It doesn't do anything for me, but some people do. We have a lovely cemetery here called Rose Hill, where several of the Allman Brothers are buried. So you can make a musical pilgrimage there, but also if you're into architecture and checking out gravestones and just a beautiful scenery, we have that as well. But what you should know about Joey Stuckey Alive Day that takes place on September 29th, the mayor has proclaimed it officially Joey Stuckey Alive Day in Macon. We're consolidated now. We're the city county have consolidated. So it's officially recognized as a holiday, I guess quasi holiday, but celebration here in town, which is very kind. And on top of that, we hold the festival. I've celebrated Alive Day ever since I was 2 years old because my parents came up with this really brilliant idea that rather than thinking of that as the day I almost died, because the doctor's like, well, if we don't do the surgery, he for sure is going to die. But if we do the surgery, he's still probably going to die. And if he lives, he's not going to walk or talk. And, look, that was them doing their job of trying to prepare my parents for a dicey situation. So that's great. But I survived all of that. And while I do have a number of health challenges as a brain tumor survivor, and being blind is not, I wouldn't recommend it if you can avoid it. It's,
right.
I have a great life and love living. And so my parents, rather than making it a day of stress and drama and fear, they said, no, it's not the day that you almost died. It's the day that you lived. And I think that's a really important, you can say, oh, it's just semantics, but it's not. It's really conceptual, because it's really important to think of that and celebrate that victory, and take joy in the fact you've done that. And so I've continued beating the odds over the course of my life. It has not been easy, but it's been done. And I won't tell you that I don't get a little concerned about my health from time to time, but generally speaking, I don't think about that stuff, except to say that I think about it enough to manage my care so that I can do what I want to do. And I have, by and large, been able to do everything I want to do and live a life of intention that fulfills my spirit. So there's that. But anyway, in 2017, we took this personal day that we kind of celebrated like a second birthday or whatever as a kid. And I said, people need to have a day of affirmation where we can come together as a community and we can revel in the joy of life and music, which to me they're synonymous. So we started a free family-friendly music festival in downtown Macon. We had 500 attendees in 2017 for our first one. In 2018 for our second one, we had over 1,500 people attend until we got shut down by the rain. In 2019, I had a shoulder replacement. Well, actually, I was recovering from the shoulder, but I had it at the end of 2018. But I was recovering from the shoulder replacement, and then was on tour with my band promoting a record. And then, of course, 2020 was COVID, and so 2021, 2022, we did a couple little like Facebook Live things. We didn't let the event disappear, but this year I feel comfortable bringing it back, and it's going to be held at the historic Douglas Theater, which launched the careers of Otis Redding and James Brown and many others greats.
See?
And it's going to be held there. It's totally free. You can come in and enjoy the music for as long as you want. It starts at 5 p.m. We're going to doors open at 5 p.m. Refreshments are available. You have to pay for those. That's the Douglas's rules, not mine. But if it's 5 o'clock, you can come in, take your seat. It's a theater style venue. At 5:30, we're going to show the Blind Man Drive-In music video, which is a comical look at how I fake blind is not a dirty word. So it's kind of a funny video that makes fun of the fact that I can't see, because sometimes it's funny. Then we're going to screen my mini documentary called Don't Blink, which is a very short 15-minute look at my life and music. Then our mistress of ceremonies, a local lady who's been a big part of the media landscape here on television, radio, print. Her name is Liz Jarvis Fabian. She's going to take over as our MC. And we're going to have music starting at 6 o'clock, and it's going to go until 10 o'clock. And we're having 5 different groups perform. My, my dear friend and colleague, Tom Rule, is going to play some jazz piano for about half an hour. And then my dear friend Pamela Bedwell, but we've actually played some of her music on the weekly play.
Yeah.
My dear friend Pamela Bedwell, who is from Georgia but lives in Alabama currently. She's coming all the way from Opelika, Alabama, to be with us and play some of her amazing singer-songwriter Americana stuff. And then we've got Nick Malloy, who is a really interesting person. He is the son of one of the most treasured media personalities in our area, Frank Malloy, who's the anchor of the 6 p.m. news and one of the sports broadcasters as well, and been doing it for about, 40 years, something like that. And Nick's his son, and Nick is a former voice student of mine. And Nick is going to come play some Americana and country. And the interesting thing about Nick is that he is in a wheelchair. And I'm just so excited that diversity is really being represented.
That's awesome.
At this year's, I mean, it always has been Live Day, but just like I've got one female performer, I've got a female, sort of host, and then I've got Nick, who's in a wheelchair, and then I'm bringing all the way down from Atlanta, Georgia, about an hour and 15 minutes away, a young rapper who's doing some really. He's in his 30s, I think, and he's doing some really amazing stuff. And his name is Question ATL, and he's going to come down and do some hip hop. And he's actually bringing. He's kind of doing some Kendrick Lamar type stuff. He's actually bringing a blind piano player down to back him up. But Question is also blind, so we're going to be 3 blind people in the house. And then around
and you're not mice.
No, we're not. We're not the 3 blind mice. And you know what? Maybe we should form a side project and call ourselves the 3 blind mice.
I know.
I do like a bit of cheese. So anyway,
me too. Yeah.
So then, and then my band is going to take the stage and conclude the show, play about an hour and a half, and that will take us around the o'clock hour. And so, and then Douglas, you have to kind of be out of the Douglas by 10. Well, you have to be out by 11. So we got to start breaking down at 10. But that's what we're going to do. I'm excited to be back and doing it. And we have some amazing sponsors that are a part of this. Mojave Audio is a sponsor, and we're actually using all Mojave microphones. That's all we're using. And if you don't know Mojave, you should. And for the money, their microphones are so, I mean, they're not cheap. I'm not saying that, but they are worth about 4 times what they charge you. And they are constructed and conceived and invented, birthed into the universe by Dr. Dave Royer, who is an absolute genius when it comes to microphones. And if you don't know that name, you've probably heard of Royer Labs, which is Dave's other company. So Dave Royer has 2 companies. One's Mojave and one's Royer Labs. And so they're helping us sponsor the event, and we're using, except for the mistress of ceremony, who's using a wireless microphone. Every other microphone on stage will be a Mojave Audio mic. And I did that because they are the best sounding mics I have ever heard. And it's incredible. We're going to also have a special guest join me to jam with the band. His name is Rob Walker. And you may not know that name, but you will probably know, if you love Southern rock, you will probably know the name of the band called Stillwater. And Rob Walker was a guitar player for Stillwater, and Rob's sort of quasi-retired, but he's going to come be a special guest and jam with us on a couple of students.
I love this. So everyone, joeystuckey.com is the website. Keep up with him on there. He's on Twitter, Facebook. Do you Instagram? I think you're on Instagram, right?
Yep, I'm on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook.
I see Joey everywhere.
TikTok.
Yeah, I'm all like, he's there. So keep up with him there and watch for the announcements. We're going to talk more next month as well and do a special show dedicated to Joey, a live day, because we love that he's alive and the positivity that comes with it and the music. And Nancy and I now have to go to Macon, Georgia and hang out. I mean, come on.
I've been wanting this to happen, but it's just never happened for us. But it's going to
happen. It's going to happen. So everyone, thank you for joining us here on the Big Weekly Blend. Of course, this is also part of our Big Weekly Blend magazine, because we have a weekly magazine because we're crazy. So follow us on blendradioandtv.com. Sign up for our newsletter. You'll get the magazine and this podcast in your email box. Just follow us on bigblendradio.com for the actual show as well, or go to youtube.com/@bigblendradio. We're on everything: Spotify, Apple, Google, all of it. So wherever you listen to podcasts, just type in Big Weekly Blend and you'll find it. Thank you so much, Joey. Always a pleasure. Everyone, check the links in the show notes for all the articles. It's like, Reggae Day is coming up on, the end of the week. So we have reggae coming in for that too. So one quick answer. If you think reggae, Joey, what is one person that comes to mind?
Oh, Bob Marley.
Real quick. Of course. So we know it's good. And we're going to have Peter Tosh too, because I like the Rebels. All right. Take care.
Bye,
Thank you, Joey.